I'm not supposed to be doing this today. I'm supposed to be doing other stuff today, but it's just too good to miss. In this video, so this morning, the ONS released their official house price index data for October. In this video, what I'm going to show you is that actually what we now have some proof of is that house prices, according to the land registry, were falling in April. They were accelerating in May, and all of the input factors since then mean that they've been accelerating faster up until today. And at the very end, I'm going to play you just the sweetest clip of Russell Quirk predicting what the housing market was going to do about a year ago. It's just too good to miss. I just had to. In a very short few seconds, he makes three clear statements, all of which were wrong about the housing market, which is fun because he's had a little swipe at me this morning. The other thing is that Russell had a bet. Russell Quirk, who's a TV commentator and a self-appointed property expert, which I'm not, by the way. Yeah, Merry Guffmas, everybody. So this is basically a house price puff, Guff busting video. Okay, let's just crack straight into it. Let's get straight into it. So this morning, these are the figures that the Land Registry or the ONS announced. Okay. I'm going to go through this very slowly because it's one thing when people who don't work in the housing market are just befuddled by these numbers. But the number of mortgage brokers and estate agents who do this for a living and still can't get their head around the numbers is staggering. So, guys, this is for you. I'm going to spell it out really, really clearly because every single month I get a bunch of complete numbskulls going, hey, Charlie, it's not a house price crash, is it? Because look at today. Now, what we've been told today by the ONS is not what's happening in the market today. Point number one, massive time lag. So we are in December 2023. They've announced headline statistics for October 2023, which was for deals being agreed in the housing market in around about May 2023. So May 2023 was 7 months ago, and we are now just being the first small little sliver of house price data from May, because it's a very small sample size, and I'll prove that to you because the ONS actually says it. But let's just see what they say. So the annual price change for a property in the UK was down 1.2%. I strongly disagree with the wording that they use there. But if they're saying that the average transaction value reported and completed in that month was 1.2% lower than the average transaction value the year before, yeah, I've got no issue with that. But a single figure is not what's happening to all properties, and it can be severely distorted by an abnormally high number of transactions at higher prices, which we've seen with all the downsizing, and a verifiable lower number of transactions at the lower end of prices, which the ONS themselves has even mentioned in their caveat about, look, this is a really rough estimate. So annual price change for the property was down 1.2% year on year. The monthly price change, this is again is October, right, was down 0.7% in a month. And that's quite a significant fall in a month. It's not a small fall. Now, what I want to show you is that in there, let's just switch to this tab here. So this is again this morning's October 2023 house price data. But I just want to draw your attention to what they call it in the main points here. So they reiterate average UK house prices decreased by 1.2%. Again, I wish they would call it the average transaction value decreased by 1.2% in the 12 months to October. Down from a decrease, so down, that's even more further down, of 0.6% in the 12 months to September 2023. So they're saying that compared to September, the month earlier, annual house price falls are now minus 1.2% compared to minus 0.6%. But hang on a second. revised estimate. And there's a lot we can read into this, right? Revised estimate. So you've revised September. Have you revised it up or down? You haven't mentioned it here. How much was the revision? How big is the change? Because this never gets reported. So I dug around a bit and I found that in September, here we are, right? This is September's release. They reported that house prices decreased by 0.1% in the 12 months to September. Do you remember that? And everyone reported, oh, they've just outlined that's almost flat. That's no change at all. So that news that hit headlines last month has now been revised down from 0.1% fall to a 0.6% fall here. And September completions relate to April deals, what was happening in the market in April. Are you with me? Are you with me? Because this is really important, because if you understand this, you will understand so much more about what's actually happening to house prices. And you will no longer be confused and bewildered by the guff coming out. And of course, today, there'll be people saying, well, 1.2%, that's not much. I mean, it's hardly a house price crash, is it? Fine, right? But that's not what's happening to house prices. That's what's happening to the average transaction value. And it's not what's happening in today's market. It's what happened back in May. So, what's happened between April, May, and now with interest rates? What's happened with unemployment? What's happened with the economy? So, if we've got house prices falling at the front, where in the housing market where transactions are being agreed, if house prices were falling by this amount, which is, so again, 0.7% in a month, right, back in May, that is a significant drop in a month. Do you think they're falling faster or slower than they were in May? I'll leave this up to you, right? So all of you mortgage brokers that think that I'm talking the market down and just go, Charlie, no, everything's fine. And I mean, this morning there's been a whole bunch of mortgage brokers saying, well, with the inflation now down, that means interest rates are going to come down sooner and everything's going to be fine. And they just don't seem to understand the concept of the time lag. So we've got the land registry telling us that in May, prices fell month on month by 0.7%. I think they fell a lot more. They're saying that the average transaction value dropped by that. Now, that was a very small sample, okay? Because remember, when they first report these figures, they're doing such a small. In fact, I've got to show you this. I forgot. This is so important. So this is what's come out on today, right? Today's publication, they have said, recently, the transaction volumes available to calculate UK house price index estimates have been considerably lower than historically. This is so important. And it's to their credit that they're saying this, right? And they go on to say, revisions may be larger than usual in the coming months. In other words, these early estimates are really, really wrong. Now, they could be wrong by being too low or too high. They could be revised up or down. But this is where you get a chance to use your common sense, to use your noggin, use your bonce and ask yourself, I wonder if they're going to revise them up or down. I wonder what's going to happen. Because it's not rocket science, this, guys. It does take a little bit of stopping and thinking about it. It is a bit annoying. Like, when was this? So with December, this is saying October, that was back in May. So May prices were falling 0.7%, but that was before they revised them down. They're going to be big revisions because they've said so themselves on the website. They're unusually small transaction volumes. Unusually small transaction volumes. What does that do to the overall average? We'll come back to that. So if we can agree that even factoring in the small transaction volume and the fact that house prices fall faster than the house price average transaction value, and we've got these average transaction values dropping by 0.7% in the month back in May, what happened to interest rates since then, if this is what's being reported today? Okay, So here's the Bank of England website, and here's the graph showing what's happening. And in April, the bank rate was 4.25%. And in May, it was 4.25%. They didn't change it, remember? But where is it now? What's happened to interest rates since? And remember, house prices were already falling before these rates. So since those figures were agreed, interest rates have gone up another whole percentage point. And in other words, we won't see the effects of that coming out into the official land registry house price data for some months to come. So what do we have? We have now confirmation from the land registry that in the housing market, being the place where deals are being agreed and prices and transactions are being agreed before they get exchanged and completed, in the housing market in April and May, prices were already falling. Okay? In April, they were originally reported as falling 0.1%. Now they've revised that down to 0.6%. So that's accelerating. So they've revised them down in April. They've then accelerated from a 0.6% year-on-year fall to a 1.2% year-on-year fall in May. That's a doubling, right? 0.6% down in April, 1.2% down in May is a doubling of the speed of house price falls back in the spring at the front line. So what's happening at the front line today? What do you think's happening at the front line today? Einsteins, come on, what do you think's happening? Because since those numbers were agreed, interest rates have gone up. Since those numbers are agreed, unemployment's gone up. Since those numbers are agreed, wages, although they have increased in real terms, the increases have started to decrease, and those don't factor in the tax burden that's gone up. So people's actual disposable income has dropped. So if actual disposable income has dropped and actual interest rates have gone up, and more people are coming to the end of their fixed rate mortgages having to remortgage and can't afford it, there's more property on the market than at any time in the last 6 years, according to Zoopla. Do you think they're going to be revising this up or down? Do you think price falls are going to be are we at the bottom, guys, or do we think they're going to be accelerating? I just deplore all the lazy lack of thinking. And people keep coming to me going, oh, Charlie, when are you going to change your mind, mate? I mean, it's all the data's going against you. No, it really isn't. If you use the data and use your noggin and use a bit of maths and work out that we now know house prices were falling at least that rate in the spring of this year. We know things have got worse since then. Then it's close to being a mathematical certainty that house prices will not only have continued falling this year, we won't see those reports for a long time, but will have done so at an accelerating rate. Ask yourself, are people finding it easier to sell homes now or harder? And if it's harder to sell homes, as per Rightmove's asking prices actually dropping, my God, I mean, I thought hell would freeze over before Rightmove actually publishes falling asking prices. And falling asking prices is a leading indicator of house price falls. All of the data, if you know what to look for and where to look for, is reporting accelerating house price falls. The average transaction value will increase if there are fewer transactions at the lower prices. Are there fewer transactions at lower prices? Number one, Bank of England mortgage approvals confirm that to be the case. Number two, the land registry has said so on its own website in total, because overall transaction volumes are always larger in number at the lower end than they are at the higher end. Guys, I'm not going to go on much longer because hopefully you get my point here. What we don't have access to is exactly what the numbers are, and we won't for some time. It's very frustrating. But 2024 will continue to get harder for the housing market, and prices will continue to fall and continue to accelerate falling in that. And I just wish people would stop and just stop being a headline believer. Just never be a headline believer. If you are someone that just bases your life decisions on headlines, how's that going for you in life in general? Everything going great, or are the headlines actually very frustrating and upsetting and bewildering? So, guys, I'm now going to play you this clip from Russell from a year ago because it's just too good not to share. One moment, let me just get it up here. Mm. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I didn't have it on the screen. Let's get it. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Mm. So my friend Russell Quirk, and he actually says here, well, just you can listen to what he says.
And clearly, if there was an issue in the housing market in the future, this government will do exactly what the previous one did, which is to intervene either with a stamp duty holiday.
This was October 2022, just over a year ago. This is recorded.
Or something. So I don't buy into house prices dropping.
I don't buy into house prices dropping.
Will we see house price growth dilute? Yes, but I bet money, to be honest, that if we're sitting here talking in 12 months' time, house prices will not be lower than they are today.
Oh, Russell. There it is for everyone to see. You'll bet money, and you did bet money. You bet Alex Groundwater and you bet Kicking Mustang money, and you've gone very, very quiet. The Land Registry, which is understating house price falls, has now said that house prices are in October officially lower than they were a year earlier. So, mate, time to put your hand in your pocket, cough up, pay up, and also have a rethink about why were you wrong? What did you get wrong? Did you actually, I mean, you always say data, but did you look at it? Do you know how to interpret the data? I'm hoping that this video helped you, Russell. I'm hoping I can help you stop making any more bets that cost you money. And I do hope you're a man of your word and you pay up to those guys. On that happy, happy, happy note, have a great one, everybody. And please share this video to help anyone who doesn't understand that house prices were falling at the beginning of the year and are falling faster now. And if after that you still don't get it, I can't help you. I hope someone else can. All the best. See you in the next one. Bye-bye, guys.